We're graduating! Isn't it exciting?
Yes, we made it! But I don't really know what I want to do next.
Did you know you can talk to the Education and Career Guidance Counselors in SP? Based on your personal needs and interests, they can help you make informed decisions and guide you on your next steps. These consultations are available for up to 3 years, so it's great for those enlisting in NS too. No matter which path you decide on, there are many career and further education webinars, talks, and workshops lined up for you to gain more insights and be well prepared.
What if I end up regretting my choices?
It's never too late for change. If you ever feel stuck in the future, the PACE Academy in SP supports reskilling and upscaling. They offer many programs and you might just discover a new passion there. For fresh graduates, they also have the Work Study program, which lets us further our learning while gaining work experience.
I don't know if I can count on myself to keep exploring for new opportunities.
Honestly, me too. But I recently found out that the alumni workshops and networking sessions are great for that. You should follow SPAN Alumni on social media for updates on upcoming events and even career or lifestyle tips. Best yet, stay connected by updating your particulars on the student or alumni portals and get your free alumni e-card on the SP mobile app for special perks. Venturing our next steps can feel exciting and daunting at the same time. But remember, SP is always here to journey with us, whenever.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our day 2 of our Singapore Polytechnic's Virtual Career Symposium 2022, where we bring journeying with you beyond SP. Very good morning, to all of our viewers online, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for tuning in to today's webinar. This morning, our webinar will be about our information and digital technologies. For those of you who have joined us earlier yesterday, I believe you have already seen our webinars for Applied Sciences and Health Sciences, as well as Built Environment. For today, we have 3 webinars, and starting off will be this session where you are in right now, our Information and Digital Technologies webinar. My name is Derek, and being an alumni of SP myself, I'm really happy to be here to host this event for all of you. All right, some of you might wonder, what's in today? What's in for this webinar? So let me give you guys a rough agenda on what's going to happen. First of all, we have our welcome and opening address by Mr. So Wai Wah, our principal and CEO of Singapore Polytechnic, as well as Miss Jenny Chan, lead student development, SOC, Singapore Polytechnic. There's going to be a bit of fun in this webinar as well. Quizzes will be available through this webinar, so keep your eyes out for it. If you answer these quizzes and get the answers correct, you stand a chance to win cash vouchers. That's right, you heard me right, cash vouchers. We also have industry partners, coming on board with us to share with us their experiences and their, I would say, highlights of their career with us. So you guys can learn more and gain more knowledge on this industry itself. Towards the end of the webinar, we also have a panel discussion, with this speaker. So during this panel discussion, you guys are able to ask questions. So what I mean by asking question, towards the right side of your screen now, I believe, there is a small little rectangle panel where it will say ask your question here. So type in your question there, for all of our panelists or industry speakers, so that they will they will answer all of your questions accordingly. So whatever doubts you have in mind, whichever questions you have about this industry or whatever it is, ask in that panel, and we will answer them later on. So just for you guys to know as well, a bit of highlight, for later on. I've mentioned about the quizzes, and when will our quizzes be out? So you got to stay tuned, because after every speaker, after a portion of them, we will have our quizzes up, so please listen to them. All right, and before we start off the event proper, since it's early in the morning for all of us viewers online, let's get a bit warmed up, rotate your body, give your neck a little bit of stretch out your arms, stretch out your arms, get ready for the day, because it's going to be a full day of fun, and knowledgeable webinars for you guys. Okay, so without further ado, okay, shall we please invite up right now, okay, our Miss Jenny Chan, our lead student development SOC, for her welcome address. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go, Miss Jenny.
Hi everyone, my name is Jenny and I'm from School of Computing. Thank you everyone for attending this session. I am teaching in SOC and I am also an alumni from the school as well. During my younger times, as a nation, we needed a workforce that was able to quickly help computerize the manual systems. And EDB sees a need to develop fresh grads from A levels to train in that area. So as a person with no IT background to now being a specialist in it, I'm happy and honored to be paying it forward by sharing my knowledge and guiding the future generation in their journey to becoming an IT professional. So I encourage all of you to find a career you're passionate about because in order to do well, you need to be passionate about what you do. Now, let's start with an opening address by our Principal and CEO of Singapore Polytechnic, Mr. So Wai Wah.
Industry speakers, alumni, graduating students, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the SP Virtual Career Symposium 2022. At SP, we prepare our students to be life ready, work ready, and world ready. When our students graduate, we do not just say goodbye, but also see you again. This is because we continue to support them as our alumni in providing them career guidance and equipping them with continuing education to be their partner in lifelong learning. This career symposium is an example of our continuous support to our students beyond their graduation. It seeks to provide our graduating students and alumni access to career advice. Our invited speakers come from various industry sectors. They are representatives from multinational corporations, small and medium enterprises, trade associations and chambers, and of course, government agencies. They will be able to share diverse perspectives and the various career pathways. I'm pleased to share that more than half of our invited speakers are SP alumni. SP is proud of their success that they have achieved in their careers. Their holistic experiences are a testament that SP graduates are well prepared for the workforce of the future and well equipped to contribute to the transformation of Singapore. They are inspiration for what all our alumni can become. I hope our graduating students and alumni will take this opportunity to explore the exciting prospects in each industry and exploit the opportunities that lie ahead. I would like also to thank all our industry speakers for taking time to be here to share their invaluable knowledge and insights at this career symposium. I wish graduating students and all alumni a fruitful time today. And beyond this symposium, I hope to see you all again at our various alumni and continuing education platforms. Thank you very much.
So let's take this session to listen to the industry speakers with an open mind and gain some insights from them. They have valuable experience to share and have dedicated their time to share it in this webinar. Let me introduce you to the speakers. They are Benny Lee, Managing Director in Public Sector Sales for Accenture; Stanley Teo, Deputy Director in Information Systems and Technology for Court Life Group; Darren Fong, Principal Engineer in Infocom Infrastructure for Defense Science and Technology Agency, DSTA for short; Valerie Tan, Assistant Manager in HR Handling Scholarships, also for DSTA. Let's bring in Benny Lee from Accenture. Benny, please.
Hello, everyone. Before we start, let me share a bit about who I am and what I do here in Accenture. My name is Benny. I'm a Managing Director within the Health and Public Service Client Group, and I've been with Accenture for over 16 years, focusing on consulting and delivering large-scale transformation projects in the public sector. I thought I'll share one quote here, right? Work will be something you do rather than somewhere you go. And this was a phrase that was first mentioned back in 2008. Fast forward to today, this might just be the way forward. Today, I would like to share some thoughts about what hybrid workforce of the future brings. COVID, as you know, has a major impact on every aspect of our personal lives. Similarly, at the workplace, the impact has been significant. In the ICT industry, work is fast-paced and project-based with multiple deliverables and tight deadlines. These tasks are usually performed in a group setting. For example, in a typical work day, you'll find yourself attending project matters in the morning, traveling back to a client location or to the office in the afternoon, before going back to a data center in the evenings to prepare for deployment-related activities. There are a lot of traveling between locations and virtual calls in between. Today, most work meetings are done virtually through Zoom or Teams, with a small amount of essential work performed on-site, for example, work at the data center. Accenture as a company had made large investments in remote working technologies before the pandemic. However, we too had to make a fundamental shift in terms of how we work remotely, primarily around collaboration in project settings. There are many more BCP in place, such as smaller teams, no cross-deployment to multiple sites, and regular testing. Employee orientation, onboarding is entirely virtual with the devices couriered to the employee's home. And we have also explored using VRs to mimic the physical environment, right, during orientation activities. Team events take place virtually as well, and often over meals, coffee delivered to their homes. Even when we are on-site, project meetings are conducted with clusters of small groups scattered over multiple floors. Prioritizing the safety of our employees was the most important. There are many factors which contribute to a successful hybrid work environment, from enabling IT tools to implementation of HR policies. However, the factors that I'd like to focus on today are the non-tangible areas that are often overlooked. One, to build an outcome-based culture with a strong sense of ownership. Working from home has brought about increased flexibility into our daily work, and such a culture is now more important than ever. In essence, it is not about the number of hours we work, but how we are able to accomplish the task. This is key in a dynamic project environment where there are task dependencies. We need to place more emphasis on being outcome-based, and it is essential that all of us have a strong sense of ownership and mission-driven to get to the outcomes. Two, to embrace a collaborative problem-solving mindset. It is important to embrace a collaborative problem mindset in a hybrid work environment. In any project setting, there will be constraints leading to team conflicts or challenges. While there are collaboration tools available to bridge these challenges, new issues will always arise. Therefore, we need to trust upon the team involved to innovate and come up with creative solutions to solve the problems. Third, being willing to accept mistakes, to learn and to make changes. Working predominantly in a remote environment is new to many of us, and that means that we have different adaptation period and we will also make mistakes along the way. But it is also an important step to acknowledge towards building a successful hybrid workforce, as one needs to be agile, to learn and to make changes along the way. These are all positive traits that you should try to consciously keep in mind and develop, be it at study or at work. Now, I'd like to just share some tips for you to consider, right, and to prepare for before joining the industry. And hopefully these tips will actually give you the best chance in getting into the employer of choice. Number one, to understand your strengths and career interests. The ICT industry is actually very diverse with a wide variety of roles. These range from business analysts, UI designers, cybersecurity, front-end development, cloud, just to name a few. For example, not being technically strong doesn't mean you cannot learn on the job, nor should it deter you from exploring some of these roles. It is important that when the opportunity is given, you should put in full effort into the role to learn and to understand the role expectations. Many people associate career pathways as a vertical path, but it's actually made out of more horizontals throughout the journey, as one needs to deepen the skills at each level. Number two, experience through internships. Internships are a good way to get some hands-on experience, and this will give a glimpse into the actual work environment. Where possible, opt for an extended internship and make the most out of the opportunity. Any advice given to you during the internship, treat it as a good learning point. Number three, develop soft skills and build a network. In an industry that highly values technical skills, the ability to clearly communicate thoughts and ideas, as well as general interpersonal skills, are often overlooked. This should not be the case, as the work environment itself is very collaborative and team-based. You should create a professional profile on LinkedIn, as it's a good way to build professional connections online and to add people, into the network as you interact with them. Building a network takes time and patience. Not every person you meet will be forthcoming. Once the initial connection is established, you will have to actively connect and strengthen that relationship. A relationship doesn't mean just connecting with people of more seniority. It also includes connecting with your peers. Attending career fairs or virtual events is also a good opportunity to actually have interaction with company representatives and to understand the available opportunities or programs. Last but not least, to stay relevant with technologies through continuous learning. Getting a diploma or degree is not the end game. In the ICT industry, skills matters more than the academic certifications. Learn to identify key trends and take actions to upskill yourself in these areas to keep yourself relevant and marketable. In summary, it is likely that the hybrid workforce will be here to stay, and all of us will have to adapt and embrace the new way of doing things. Hopefully, this short presentation gives you a bit of insight on how to be successful in a hybrid work environment and to stay relevant in the industry. Thank you.
Thank you, Benny. Our next speaker is Stanley Teo from CotLife. Over to you, Stanley.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Stanley Teo, Deputy Director of Information and Technology Divisions of CotLife Group Limited. Thank you for having me in this Career Symposium 2022, which is tailored for you. As I understand that you are either stepping into workforce soon or fresh in the workforce. Please allow a minute or two for me to have a quick introduction about our company, CotLife Group Limited. We are a public listed company, headquartered in Singapore, with presence in few countries in Asia, and carry different brands named such as CotLife, StemLife, Health Baby, Metascreen, iScreen, Preview, and Optic. We are in the healthcare industry. Our company vision is to help people live healthier, happier, and longer. It will speak by itself from the services that we are providing. Our services consist of our famous cord blood banking service, where parents could opt to store the blood from the umbilical cord at birth of their baby and frozen it for future medical use, as cord blood contains the most potent adult stem cells that can turn into any kind of blood cell to cure diseases such as blood disorder, immune deficiency, metabolic diseases, and some kind of blood cancers. Parents could also choose to store the cord lining as well, as it contains additional two important types of stem cells which can be used to treat even more diseases, not just for the child, but for the family. You won't be surprised if your parents could have stored your cord blood in our blood bank for your health benefit. On top of cord blood banking, we also provide various health detection services, such as prenatal testing to detect the risk of having Down syndrome baby, metabolic screening to detect any metabolic disorders in newborn baby, and pediatric eye screening to detect vision problems in children as young as 6 months old. We are also first in Asia to let patients undergoing refractive eye surgery to correct the short-sightedness or astigmatism, and the extracted corneal lenticule can be preserved to potentially treat other eye-related conditions in the future. And this can't be done through the traditional eye LASIK procedures. You may visit www.cotlife.com if you are interested to know more about our services. Thank you for your time and attention on our company intro. And now let's get to the main purpose of this presentation, which is mainly about the mapping of the courses that you have studied and its relevant role in a company like CotLife. I hope this would help to give you some guidance to kickstart your first job application. As you are stepping into workforce soon, some of you probably wondering which industry is applicable to your course. And I would like to congratulate you that the knowledge and skill set that you are acquiring is industry-free, meaning they are applicable to majority of industries, if not all, such as financial, healthcare, retail, F&B, and manufacturing. This is because in most cases, the IT component in use, such as the computers for data entry or retrieval, the programming language for application development, a server for hosting the application, a database for managing the application data, or a network that link up all of them, as well as the security measurements that safeguard these systems, are basically the same in terms of functionality. The key difference is probably the scales of the setup, which is very much determined by the criticality of the system. A system that is more critical to a company would have higher complexity, such as with additional redundancy and more stringent security measures, and the other way around for a system that is set up for user testing purpose. What you have learned from your courses will provide you a good basic fundamental knowledge for you to embark your journey with the relevant role in any of these industries. Let me try to share some general view on how the course that you have studied could assist a company in general, such as CopLife, which is in healthcare industry, and hopefully will give you some ideas when you are applying for your first job. DIT graduate that focus on software and application development could participate on our CRM, ERP, or digital transformation development and support role, where you could involve in these core enterprise applications to speed up the efficiency and effectiveness of our business operations. DISM graduates that focus on security could assist on securing our entire computing environment, ranging from establishing security baseline, log reviews, detect and respond cyber threats, periodic vulnerability scanning, and etc., to ensure the entire IT ecosystem are mitigated from cyber threat and data leakages. The AAA graduate could assist on data collection, reporting, perform analysis using the AI tool to get the best value out of the collected data to support in making better operations or business decisions, hence improve business growth. Any graduate who would like to explore the infocom sectors other than the three mentioned above could join the IT infrastructure setup and support role, which offers wide range of scope from endpoint setup, operating system patching, virtual or physical server provisioning, data backup and restoration, database storage and management, email and internet surfing, all network-related activities such as lease line, VPN, firewall, router, switches, and etc. Last but not least, when seeking for your first job, it is advisable not to focus on salary and benefit, as they will come by eventually to commensurate with your knowledge and experience that you will be gaining along the way in the company. Put more focus on the job that you have passion with, so that you'll be looking forward to it every day. Understand the coverage of the job, as bigger enterprise company typically would offer a more specific role, and smaller SME would offer you a role with the wider coverage. In the case you have more than one job offer, you may then decide to take up the offer from the industry of your wish. Additional advice in the case you have gotten your first job: as you are new to the job, the task that to be assigned to you typically is an easy one. Hence, you may want to complete it earlier than the given schedules to demonstrate your commitment and productivity to your employer. Do not assume, don't be shy to ask for clarification if you are unclear about the instructions or the task given to you. It is always better than producing the wrong output. Well, these are a few basic takeaways from my presentations, and I wish you all the best in your job seeking process and your career journey.
Thank you so much, Mr. Benny and Mr. Stanley. And of course, I believe we have heard from the both of them towards the end. I think Mr. Stanley mentioned when you're seeking for your first job, focus more on the coverage, the industry, and the passion that you have for it. And it is very, very important rather than looking at your salary and the benefits of yourself right at the start. Reason why? Because these two will come in slowly but surely. So once you have acquired all the skill sets that you require, you have the experiences, I believe your salary and the benefits will come in definitely. All right. And I believe for Mr. Benny, he mentioned things to prepare, before joining the workforce. I think this is very important as well because some of our viewers might not know, okay, what actually do I have to do before I join a company, before I enter the workforce? What exactly do I have to prepare myself for? You got to understand your strength and your career goals. Experience through internships, I think this is very important as well because that is where you actually get to know if this is something that you want to do or not. Thirdly, you got to develop your soft skills and build network. Important. Okay, he mentioned as well network not only in terms of people whom are your seniors, but people whom are your peers as well, because these are people whom you can learn from and eventually help each other out in this long journey of yours. And lastly, you got to stay relevant with technologies through continuous learning. Okay, this is very important. I believe at this time and age, everybody got to transform and adapt yourself to whatever is coming your way, because if you don't change, you will just be left behind. All right, so that's for our two speakers. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, I mentioned earlier on, we have quizzes along the way. So here comes quiz question number 1. What do you have to do? Whip out your mobile phones, ladies and gentlemen, and do me a favor to scan this QR code on the screen right now. Okay, to answer our quiz question number 1. Okay, quiz question number 1, here it goes. Industry 4.0 is not the convergence of which technologies? Is it A, data analytics, B, artificial intelligence, C, cybersecurity, or is it D, cloud computing? Which do you think is the correct answer? Okay, for those of you who have just joined us and you're wondering what this quiz is all about, okay, we do have quizzes along the whole webinar. All right, if you answer them correctly, cash vouchers are to be won. Okay, so how do you participate? Very simple. There's a QR code on the screen. Scan the QR code or enter the URL that is right under the QR code for you to access these quiz questions and simply answer. All right, let me repeat the question again. Industry 4.0 is not the convergence of which technologies? Is it A, data analytics, B, artificial intelligence, C, cybersecurity, or is it D, cloud computing? Which do you think is the correct answer? Okay, later on we'll have more quizzes along the way as well. Okay, but I believe you guys already have quite a bit of time to answer the question. So let's proceed with our next segment. Okay, and we have a couple of more speakers coming up to join us in sharing their experiences with us. So may I please invite Miss Jenny once again to introduce who our speakers are. Miss Jenny, please.
Now we shall have Darren Fong and Valerie Tan from DSTA. Over to you guys.
Hey everyone, I'm Darren from Infocom Infra.
Hello everyone, I'm Valerie from the DSTA Scholarship Office.
And we're here today to share more about DSTA, what we're doing, and some of the opportunities you can look forward to with DSTA. So perhaps a quick introduction about the company. DSTA stands for Defense Science and Technology Agency, and we're a stat board under the Ministry of Defense. We were formed in March 2000. So our mission is to harness science and technology to meet the defense and national security needs of Singapore. So in DSTA, we're organized into departments, or what we call program centers, with functions spanning across the entire system lifecycle management, from capability planning, capability development, and sustainment. Each of the boxes here represent one program center, which are divided into different fields such as engineering, IT, cybersecurity, procurement, as well as other corporate entities. So the boxes highlighted in orange are program centers dealing with IT or digital works. So being in DSTA will not only help MINDEF SCF, but also other agencies within the whole of government. We also have embedded officers in which you can see on the right-hand side, where we attach staff these officers to provide our expertise to them. So one of the areas of work that we are more known for are our engineering. So these things include like the floating platform, which we see every time we host an NDP, the latest Hunter AFV, as well as you may have heard of the mobile swap stations, which were deployed during the early stages of the COVID-19 fight. So other than engineering, we also deal with IT or digital work. Some of these digital works include software development, that do full stack development, data scientists and analysts, make sense of big data. We also have cybersecurity professionals researching vulnerabilities. So with that high level understanding of DSTA, maybe let me share more about my DSTA journey and what my department does. So like everyone here, I came to SP about 10 years ago. I graduated in around 2010. So I had to take an internship and the school assigned me to DSTA. Back then I just went, oh, okay, lor. And I just went with it because I didn't really know what the industry was. I certainly didn't know what is a DSTA. But ever since graduating SP and then NUS, I always wanted to manage an IT infra. When you start studying cybersecurity, you come to realize how scary the IT world is. So back then, I'll actually take the time to harden, secure my home PC and my home network. And I can see doing that as a job. So that's why when I started looking for work, I looked for many IT infra related positions. And to be honest, back then, there wasn't really a lot. A popular thing back then was cybersecurity. So luckily, DSTA was hiring a IT infra network engineer, and they took me in. And I started as a network engineer before moving on to our own internal cybersecurity team called Info Assurance, or IA, and ultimately taking on more compliance engineering related assignment. Going back to our digital area of works, underneath all these software developers, data analysts, and cybersecurity professionals lie a solid and diverse IT infrastructure foundation. IT infra is also another digital area of work. What I've listed here are just some of the tools that IT infra deal with, and already what you can see here is already quite a lot. So within Infocom Infra, we deploy and manage IT infra that forms the foundation for other systems to build their stuff on top of. We develop, secure and manage an integrated IT infrastructure for MINDEF SCF, as well as sometimes whole of government. And some of the areas we look into are what you can see here: cloud computing, optical and cellular networks such as 5G, wired and wireless networks, client devices such as your laptops, your tablets and your phones. We also do IoT, LoRaWAN, and sensor networks. We also manage traditional data centers and OT networks. Not pictured here, but we also are pushing the boundaries when we're looking at upcoming technologies. So things like AI, machine learning, data analytics, quantum technologies such as quantum RNG, and quantum key distribution. And we're doing all this to develop new capabilities and to progress our new cyber defense solutions. So to deliver all those IT infra, we usually bring in commercial products to help set it up. We're not developers. So what we do is mostly some simple scripting for automation. So by joining Infocom Infra, you get your hands dirty with all these commercial tools. And some of them are already best in the industry. If you're familiar and interested with some of the things that I've just shared, then DSTA, Infocom Infra at DSTA will be the right place for you to start your DSTA journey. That said, IT Infra is mostly a behind the scenes portfolio. Most of our users are mostly developers, analysts, cyberops professionals. So other than hearing buzzwords like cloud, right, you won't really hear much about this domain simply because we play a very supporting role. Even though our work rarely gets the limelight, that doesn't mean it's any less important. So for example, when COVID-19 cases were popping up, ICI was asked to to set up the IT infra, which forms the foundation for our COVID-19 ops. So other than the work we do, we also do organized team bonding and team exercises, and team retreats, both at team level and department level. So one time we went to Adventure Cove, one time we went to Legoland in Malaysia. So these are some of the recreational activities you look forward to by joining us. So with that, maybe I'll pass the time to Valerie, who will share more about the various opportunities you can have here at DSTA.
Hi, I'm Valerie. I'll be sharing with you more about the opportunities you can consider with DSTA. DSTA offers scholarship, internship, and career opportunities to students. The DSTA scholarship will offer students the opportunity to gain immersive exposure with hands-on opportunities in the multidisciplinary work in engineering, infocom technology, and cybersecurity. Some areas of the internship will be engineering, infocom technology, and cybersecurity, which includes data analytics, artificial intelligence, robotics, machine learning, sensors, space, communication, and military systems. You'll be able to gain both technical and soft skills such as program, software, and critical thinking, as well as problem solving. You'll have the opportunity to do real work and gain hands-on experience on projects aligned to your interest. You can look forward to receiving guidance from mentors who are open and willing to receive new ideas and suggestions, industry engagement or site visits to air shows and tech summit. You'll be invited to participate in DSTA events or PC Coalition. Outstanding interns may be considered for employment as well. Join DSTA, where we have nurturing environment and comprehensive staff development program. The staff development framework to ensure holistic staff development in several ways. Firstly, each staff has a personalized career development plan where they can plan for their career goals that best match their personal aspirations, experiences, and competencies. Our staff can progress on management and specialist tracks and rotate within or across program centers. Last but not least, milestone and leadership courses are put in place to prepare our staff for high appointment at each stage of their careers. We also have a creative and dynamic environment where there are various innovation programs to promote innovation. We have our Inno Day, which will hold annual dialogue to talk about innovations. We also adopt an open feedback culture. When staff have any issues, they can just approach their supervisor for a one-to-one session. There are competitive remuneration and comprehensive benefits. So we have regular salary benchmarking exercises to ensure that the pay is competitive. There are also other friendly perks and benefits in DSTA. For example, will be corporate discount to places of interest, as well as flexible benefits. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce you our DSTA Technology Graduate Program, TGP, which is designed to equip you with a holistic and strong foundation in your early career through a structured 2-year development program. So through the program, you'll be able to discover your career interests and broaden technical horizons, build strong technical grounding and hone leadership skills, build networks and learn from experienced tech leaders and like-minded peers. Connect with a dedicated mentor to accelerate your career development, gain hands-on experience in the engineering or technology domain. So if you're interested, you can apply to the program via our DSTA website. And now I'll be sharing with you more about the DSTA scholarship. So with the scholarship, you can get to enjoy many opportunities to work in exciting domains from engineering, digital technology to cybersecurity. You can also look forward to studying in top universities in Singapore and overseas. We encourage our scholars to pursue their studies in diverse universities, including non-English speaking countries like Europe and Asia. There will be full sponsorship for your studies in local and overseas universities for tuition fees as well as living allowances. With the DSTA scholarship, we have an extensive support network and programs to prepare you for your university journey. You can look forward to the DSTA Scholars Orientation Program to get to know your fellow scholars. You will be able to find out more about career opportunities in DSTA, DSO, as well as CSIT. During your studies, you will have a desk head to support you with scholarship matters or any concerns. A fellow scholar from the same university or country of study will be your buddy to advise you on academic and university matters. As a DSTA scholar, you can look forward to enriching internship experience under the guidance of mentors. We also offer the Global Internship Program, GIP, for you to work in top MNC companies and gain exciting hands-on experiences in the latest technologies. You can also look forward to top companies in diverse sectors from engineering, cybersecurity, to digital tech. Upon graduation, you can realize your career aspirations in DSTA, DSO, and CSIT. The applications for DSTA scholarship is now open. You can scan the QR code here to apply for the DSTA scholarship. We look forward to receiving your application. The closing date for the application will be on 25th April 2022. We warmly welcome you to join our online community, like our social media pages, and stay updated on the latest happenings. You can email us if you have any queries regarding to scholarship, internship, and careers. Thank you, everyone, and have a nice day.
All right, thank you so much, Darren and Valerie, for the insightful sharing. I believe, ladies and gentlemen, you guys got to know a little bit on how Darren managed to join the industry, okay, back then 10 years ago, and I also got to know a little bit from Valerie in terms of what DSTA got to offer for you guys as well. Okay, in a very short moment's time, we'll start off our panel discussion, but before that, guess what? It's quiz time again. So that is part of the question right now. Okay, for you guys to take a look. Question number 2. Okay, what are the pillars of Singapore's smart nation vision? Okay, if you're still wondering how to answer the question, okay, scan the QR code on the screen or key in the URL on any preferred web browser of yours. Okay, question number 2. What are the pillars of Singapore's smart nation vision? Is it A, digital society, B, digital economy, C, digital government, or D, all of the above? Which do you think is the correct answer for this question number 2? I want to let you guys know again, there are cash vouchers to be won. So if you are watching, do take part in this quiz question right now. Okay, why not, right? Just win the vouchers for yourself. Okay, so quickly whip out your mobile phones. Scan the QR code if possible. If not, key in the URL like I've mentioned and answer this question right away. Okay, before we begin our panel discussion very, very shortly. All right, give you guys about another 1 more minute to answer this question before we kick off our panel discussion. So here you go. All right, I hope you have already answered question number 2. There will be a question number 3 coming up after the panel discussion later on. And right now, all right, before we kick off our panel discussion, I would like to introduce our panelists once again. Okay, they are our speakers from earlier on. We have Mr. Benny Lee, Mr. Stanley Teo, and Mr. Darren Fong. Unfortunately, Miss Valerie couldn't join us for the panel discussion. However, we do have the honor of inviting up to join us as well, Miss Elaine Lee. She's also the Assistant Manager, Scholarship for Defense Science and Technology Agency. All right, and this panel discussion is moderated by Miss Jenny Chan. So once again, if you have any question that you want to ask, okay, there is a panel towards the right side of your screen. Okay, it should say ask your question here. So just type in any question that you have with regards to the industry or any queries you have, any wonders that you have about joining the workforce, and we'll have our industry partners to address them in a short while. Okay, so remember, key in any questions that you have and we'll answer them. Right now, I would like to hand the time over to Miss Jenny and our panelist.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm the moderator for this information and digital technology session. Just quickly, let me introduce you to my panelists so you can, you may or may not direct it to the speakers in the Slido. Okay, we have Benny from Accenture.
Hi, morning.
Hi, Stanley from Court Life.
Hi, good morning, everyone.
And Darren from DFTA.
Hey, guys.
And last but not least, Elaine from DFTA as well.
Hi.
Okay, we do have questions that are already starting to appear when the first speaker just came on, and thank you for all the questions. So maybe I just kickstart one of the quite concerned questions about hybrid workforce. So thank you for that question, because I would this is a very good question to start the ball rolling, and everyone is also quite concerned about this hybrid workforce and how long will it continue. And can I call upon Darren to start the ball rolling? Darren?
Yeah, thanks, Jenny. Right, so this question is about how long do you foresee the hybrid workforce will continue? I think very importantly, the pandemic has demonstrated that there's this value and viability to having this flexible working arrangement, right? I think it's very difficult for us to go back to full work from home or full RTO simply because there's just benefits on both sides of that camp, right? If you were to return to office, it's easier to just find people, have quick discussions, quick collaborations, draw on a whiteboard is a lot easier, right? On the other hand, having work from home is easier to get just sleep in, remove that commuting time altogether. You suddenly gain 2 hours in your life to do other things, right? And I think for some companies, they are actually recognizing there's this benefit also, and they are downsizing on office space to, save some money on the rental lah. So I think from some sectors, it might be difficult, right, to have hybrid or even work from home arrangements. But I think for the IT and the digital workforce, right, I think it's very easy, especially for software developers. You can just fire up your IDs at home and code from home, push your code to a GitHub repo and just collab from there lah. So certain industries will I think will adopt this for the long term lah. Whereas certain service based or maybe customer facing industries, I think it'll be quite difficult lah.
Okay, I totally agree because of this pandemic, there would be some paradigm shift. And I also take note that Mr. Benny mentioned something about quote, work is something you do and not somewhere you go. So this is the hybrid way to go. And Mr. Benny, do you have anything to add on?
No, I think from my perspective, from Accenture perspective, the hybrid workforce is definitely here to stay, right? In fact, I think as we look forward and with COVID, the situation stabilizing, it's really looking at how do we now better take care of the employees, right? As they continue to work from home in this hybrid format, right? So I think in my earlier presentation, I covered a lot about what fresh individuals joining the industry needs to be aware of, right? Because the truth is, in the last 2 years a lot of things has gone virtual, right? So things like orientation, even training is highly virtualized, right? And I think from an organization standpoint, we also acknowledge that maybe the personal touch, right, the ability to see the individual face to face lacking. So I think really the next wave, in terms of what's really going to be and what we need to do next is to see how we can gradually bridge this gap, right? For team members to gradually, go back to the offices to bond, right? Because otherwise you are always going to be trapped in your bubble where, you only know the people around you, right? And that it also, leads on, to one part of my conversation around the networking aspect. How do we then, make use of the technologies with the circumstances that we are in now to ensure that, we can continue to, grow from that point of view and also, learn from all these experiences.
Yep. So making use of technology to bond and to bring the teamwork. How about Stan Lee? What do you foresee for the hybrid workforce? Will it continue long term?
Yes, I would say even we want to go back to the good old days, now becomes not that easy anymore, right? Because one of the one of the trend now today is most of people actually would compare, right? If new applicants, when they apply for a job, they probably would ask, right, okay, how many days need to go to office? How many days can work from home? Then they will compare among each others and say, oh, yours is only go 1 day and mine I have to go every day, So that also would pose another challenge to the company when they try to retain staff and people or new employee rather. And then with this also we could sense that there are benefits of working virtually or remotely, right? Everything we can do it very fast. Arrange a meeting also, it's also very fast, right? We don't have to call everybody and look for each other, then go to the meeting rooms and all that and so forth. This one is just one click away, then we can arrange your meetings and over the chat. And people already started to well versed with all these technologies already. And it becomes very, very efficient. Of course, the drawback of it is the human touch and all this. Then we got to arrange to have that one still intact. I mean, it's somehow or another. Maybe some when the things get more stabilized and the government allows more people together, then we could slowly go back to those the gathering progressively. Yes, I think it was still here to stay. And upcoming technology, we know that there are metaverse and all the virtual thingy, and we could put on all the 3D glasses where we could see each other like literally in front of us. So that would come one day. So that would cushion some of the human touch thingy that some of us would have concern. Yeah, that is my view.
Yep. Thank you, Stanley. So from what I can gather, hybrid workforce seems to be here to stay. So whether is it 2 or 3 days working in the office or working online. And actually, I'm quite glad that because of my IT experience, working virtually has been very there were no hiccups, no problem except for maybe the Wi-Fi and all these things. But because of our background, we can easily adapt, Zoom and all this, and also whatever VPN, all these things. So our background helps in this to pave the way for this hybrid workforce. The next question, thank you. How do we take advantage of networking in an organization? Okay, so coming from a hybrid, right? And how do we network and how do we take advantage? I would like to just add on. And how will it help in our career growth? Okay, so that was a question asked. Perhaps Benny can start the ball rolling from your experience. Well, how will networking help in our career growth? And how do I network now in this hybrid environment?
Yeah, so I think every individual that you sort of meet virtually or in person, right, that, is actually one network node, right? So you just have to be mindful of that, right? So anyone that you meet is actually going to be, your network. So I think start from there. Essentially, the question is how does networking actually help me, grow my career later on, right? I think there's a few things that I want to share, right? I think first and foremost, again, from my experience in Accenture, we are all very project based, right? Very collaborative based, and everyone is all on different projects, right? So one form of networking that we use to promote is make sure that you leave the project and the project peers that you're working with, right? Go and see the world, right? Seeing the world means participate in internal activities if there is, right? I mean, before COVID, there's a lot of team activities, right? And we have sort of social clubs, right? It can be dragon boat, it can be bowling and things like that, right? Go out there because you then meet people from different projects, and you can also technically gossip or understand how the other projects are going on, and if there's any interesting roles or projects that you may then be able to go on as you finish your role. So I think that's one area, right? Of course, in today's context, everything is in a digital form, but I believe most organizations still have those sort of brown bags, sharing sessions on and off, right? So again, those will be opportunities to sort of participate in, right? So that you can learn something new, and then look through who has attended, and you can actually reach out to them to have a chat, right? So that's one. The next part about how networking really helps the individual is that as you progress in your career, right, everyone will progress along with you, right? Obviously, we will always start off our career as maybe a junior developer somewhere, and that's also the same journey that I've gone through, right? I started in the industry as in SAP, right, in ERP, right, and then I gradually move on in the path, right? So how all these interpersonal kind of relationship, how is as you progress, your perspective of the industry also change, right? Today you may be doing development work, tomorrow you may be doing testing, or you may move on to do maybe some experience design, UI, or you may even move out to do sales, business development like I do, right? But very often, some of these opportunities or career, I guess, opportunities come about is actually through all these different friends and colleagues that you have previously worked with. And through that network, you actually try to understand, or you learn more in terms of what's going out there, right? And we are not talking about just opportunities within an organization, right? Obviously, people will also, leave the organization to somewhere else, right? So actually, after the person leaves, trying to connect, with them, meeting them up for meals is also equally as important, because that will also open, the door for the individual to actually understand how other industries are faring, or even within the industry, are there any other better opportunities out there? Yeah.
Thank you, Benny. And okay, perhaps Benny, would you have anything to share? If not, then we can I can go to the next question to add on about the networking. How do you take advantage of networking to help in our career growth in the organization?
All right. Okay. Networking is always important, right? You cannot work alone, and you cannot not only yourself, in a room. So you got to let everyone knows you. The more, the merrier. But of course, in good way. So when you're doing networking, of course, you try to sell yourself to other people so that people knows your strengths and your capability. Then indirectly, it helps a lot, especially when you look for jobs, right? So people would of course attest your capability, and then the more people attest you, and that makes the application of the job is much easier. Right. Sometimes you don't really need to go through a very thorough interview, because just through the networking, people with some recommendation from peer colleagues or friends. I mean, it's much easier for you to get into a role that you would like to have. Right. The competition also much lesser through networking rather than go through the typical interview processes. Right. So yeah, networking is, of course, it's always important. So just go out and mix with different industry. If there's a chance, especially like this sort of symposium, right? Yeah, please attend and meet out with your old friends again and find out. I mean, how are they, and try to sell yourself, and also get to know each other more. And that definitely will help in long runs along the way. Yeah.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, networking is important. So now I know Benny, and I know Stanley, and I know Elaine. I'm going to send in my application for job application if it opens. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I will throw that sequence, the timestamp of when you answer out on window, because there are people who actually like some of the questions, and I want to actually address that, and hopefully the panel also want to address it as well. It's always the same type of concern. It's a degree versus experience, right? Which one will stand you in good stead, right? So the one that's the most is degree a need? I shall answer. I shall just read out. Is degree a need or optional in the IT industry? So the panelists actually, from Darren's point of view as well as from Elaine's point of view, because she stands in HR, and also Benny, you hire people, and Stanley, you hire people. Okay, so I throw it to the panelists to answer.
Right. I'll take this question first, lah. So is a degree a need for IT? Absolutely not. But I would still highly recommend you take a degree if you can afford so, lah. Simply because that, go back to our earlier point about networking, right? If you take a degree, when you take modules in uni, right, you actually interact with a lot of other people, and that is where you build your networks, right? For guys in NS, you also build your networks in NS as well. So take the degree. Not only will it help you build your networks, it actually, the things taught at SP, they are very applied, right? They are very focused towards solving problems in the workforce. Whereas things they are taught in NUS or NTU or any other university, they are very analytical, problem solving, higher order thinking kind of problems, which are also good for solving complex problems in the workforce. So if you can afford it, I would highly recommend you take a degree. Yeah, if you cannot, there are also scholarship opportunities you can take up with various companies, the SDA, one of them, whether Accenture and Court Life also have. Yeah.
Thank you, Darren. So highly recommended, but not necessary, because you also have on-the-job training and on-the-job networking, and Darren have mentioned that. So Benny and Stanley, anything to add? Degree, is it a need in the IT industry?
It's definitely not a prerequisite, right, to be blunt, right? So actually, you don't need a degree, right? I think that's my personal view, right? But of course, I understand that usually it's the parents who wants the degree, right? So I think we also need to be, mindful of, the generation, and that I think that is something that we cannot truly eliminate, right? And maybe just to share a bit about in Accenture, what we do, right? Actually, we have been hiring poly graduates for many years already, right? And as we speak, this year we have actually launched the TDAP program, which is the Technology Development Expertise Program, and it's entirely focused on hiring poly graduates, right? When you join Accenture, you actually come in as a career level 13, right? Because in Accenture, our career path is by numbers, right? 13, 13, 12, 11, 10, and so on and so forth. It is actually, the construct is a 5-year program, right? So when you come in the first year, we focus on building your foundation skills, right? So depending on where you'll be, deployed to, it can be maybe some low code, no code platform technologies. It can be open stack development or data engineering, right? So the first year is really spent on sort of growing your foundation skills in that. Year 2, year 3 is focused a bit more on, trying to get a bit more industrialization on the skills, right? So you continue to practice, what you do in the so-called first year or so. And then from year 4, year 5 is where you start to specialize, right? And actually, when we design this and we also look through the poly graduates who have actually come into Accenture and their career pathway, I'm actually happy to say that it's actually no different from the graduate holders, right? So it's really about the relevance and the experience, right? And even from a compensation standpoint, it is exactly the same, right? So I do have poly grads, who have actually joined us without a degree, until now still no degree. They spent about 5 years and they are now actually a team lead in Accenture already, right? So you compare, from a calendar year's perspective versus you were to, take up a degree, it's exactly the same, or rather I will say you'll be a bit more advantageous, all right? Because with 5 years of industry experience versus maybe a graduate with 2 years, experience, I think that is the drastic difference, right, in terms of your market value as you go out, right? So even if you don't stay on in Accenture, you go out to join another job out there. I think that 5 years experience on your CV is going to look far greater than a degree that's there, right? So that's that's my perspective. That's also in Accenture what we are moving towards too. Yeah.
Thank you, Benny. So, Stanley, you have anything to add on, whether a degree or is necessary?
Well, I think I actually agree to both. Basically, I think it's your own choice, right? So if you, we actually, like example, like what Benny had shared, right? I mean, for employer, we are looking for somebody who can come in and we will help you up throughout, right? So regardless, what sort of certification that you have, right? As long as you show your passions, you're really keen and you willing to put in your hard work. So employer definitely would, even the Valerie just now in the presentation also shared, we actually have a plan for every one of you to make your progress along the way. Then of course degree has its own plus. Otherwise, it won't be there in the future, right? So it is not that important. So it has its own plus point. So it's actually up to you guys, your own decisions, whether you like to. You also can take part time, even though you join into the workforce. You also can take part time to gain your degree, and the courses that you are going to take up probably is maybe you are not covered during your diplomas courses period. So yeah, that's my view. But my view, I think as well, that degree is not really a must to have. Even diploma is also suffice, and then we can actually grow you all from where you are until your next career path. That's typically most of employer would do like.
Yep, exactly. Actually, also describing my path where I started work, graduated from a diploma, and I wanted to get industry skills at first, and then when I'm certain and I actually had some hard knocks along the way of working, I decided to personal goal is to actually deepen my skill set. So I actually took some courses in specialist diploma to get some media experience, multimedia experience. And then after that, another personal goal is I wanted that degree. So it's more of a personal achievement and deep learning for specialized areas. Yeah, so it's to get a head start, maybe we all can agree to get a step into the IT industry. As long as you show passion and you have the resume and portfolio to prove that you can do the job, the company, and you get hired, and then along the way you progress. Definitely, is the horizon. You can choose where you want to go, right? And then you can choose to deepen your skill through learning. One popular questions that I can see have 3 likes and a few likes. Certifications, is it beneficial to boost our career, employment / salary? So if I get like 10 certs, will I get promoted? Well, I mean, 10 certs and we apply a job, definitely they will be interested, right, for HR. But when I'm working inside SSP, am I able to get to boost my salary by having a lot of certifications and all this? I mean, for me, at my job, I believe I do not have all these things, perks now. But maybe companies like Accenture or Hotline or DSP, they may have perks for that. I'm not sure. Okay, so maybe I can hear from Darren, who is in DSTA.
Well, certainly beneficial lah. I mean, compare someone without cert and someone with cert. Obviously, you take the guy with the cert lah, right? But I think we need to be careful about chasing too much certs lah, because having cert is good, right? But experience is also matters, as much, if not, I would say more so lah, right? Having a cert just allows you to open doors, but whether can you stay in the job, and prove yourself. I think the experience is what counts more lah. So as far as the remuneration is concerned, I don't know whether DSTA has that. Right? I do have some few certs myself lah, CCNA and OSSA. No one gave me extra money for that lah, so I don't know whether am I missing out or what. But I think other companies, they do lah, right? Like if you get CCIE, maybe plus $300 or whatever. Yeah, I think it really depends on the company lah.
Yeah, I believe too. Maybe go on to the next question. We are running a bit short of time, and we have like tons of questions coming in. Can we progress in our qualification after joining a company and gaining experience? I mean, is it the career path that you're talking about? How would we know if the company provides scholarship? I think we just have to ask and do our research on the company website, or the company handbook, employee handbook. So or even to ask our boss about whether scholarship is provided. But if you're coming in as interviewee, maybe these are the top questions that they are thinking of. What is our career path like in the company? Benny?
I think the pathways is a bit infinite now, right? Because earlier on, I also shared that when I joined, I do SAP, and then after I move on to do maybe more project management roles, and then now in my capacity, I'm actually still running projects, right? So I run projects of more than 100 folks, but I'm also doing sales and building growth capabilities for the organization, right? So I think definitely there's a lot of pathway. If we want to be a bit more specific in terms of like technology pathways, right, then I would say that very typically, what we typically see out there, and what a lot of organizations are doing, and we just take maybe software engineering as one example, right? Maybe in the first 2 to 3 years, you'll be more of a junior engineer in that space, and then you actually move up to be a senior engineer in that space, right? Of course, the technology that you choose, whether it's OpenStack, whether you do DevOps or security and whatever, I think that's the domain by itself. But generally, once you reach a certain milestone, say again, 5 years is usually that sort of benchmark, right? You then have the opportunity to actually decide whether you want to continue to further your path in that particular domain, or you may want to grow horizontally, right? So some of the options, after you are very familiar with the particular domain, can be you can branch out to do maybe more project management related stuff, or you can even branch into doing, solution architecting, technical architecting, kind of role. So I think those are the different, or rather typical technology pathways, right? But of course, again, if you are game enough for challenge, you can always move into, other domains like UI, UX, experience design, functional, or, BPR kind of a change management kind of role, right? So I think those are the, different ability for you as an individual. And of course, ICT is prevalent everywhere, right? So you don't really have to start your career with a sort of system integrator SI company, right? You can always go into different industries. Like Stanley comes from more of a healthcare industry. That's also one area that you can move into. So it's really a lot of opportunities are. And I dare say that because 20 years ago when I'm in the poly and I took out an IT diploma, that's with my lens that we always think that maybe it's an iron rice bowl, or there will be opportunities for me, right? So 20 years fast forward now, you look at the future, right? I think the ICT industry is still booming, right? With a lot of digitalization going on, right? So I think you can be quite assured that the next 20, 30 years, right, at least there will be a role waiting for you.
Thank you, Benny. The career path in Court Life as well, coming from Stanley. Anything to add?
In Corp Life, of course, we have regional presence and in Asia. So basically, I think I agree with the Benny also. Where you could start from with any. Even in my presentation, I did share that there are 4 areas in my presentation. That is, the so-called aligned to the courses that the attendees here have studied. You could actually go into your area that you have studied, or you can go into the area where, example, infrastructure that actually also it comprises of a wide range of technologies and domains. So infra itself is also a big area that once you go into it, you will get to see, there are even more. I kept telling the new people there are more toys to play. There are really a lot of toys in there. So from all the spaces, from security, from the high availability, from redundancy and all this stuff, it's really a big playground. So yeah, not to worry. So once you are in the ICT space, it is really really is for you to explore and see ultimately which area or which domain is to your liking and you have more passion on. So the key thing is you need to go into something that you have passion, so that it makes your life easier. You're learning much faster, and also less stress. And when because there will be more real life challenges to come once you get into the workforce. So you need those passion to help you to pull through. Right. Otherwise, you may feel challenges every day and start to feel stress every day, and it definitely will affect your performance. So so you go to something that you have the passion with, then that definitely will help you. So qualification and all this is really secondary. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Stanley. Thank you for the question. Now, due to lack of time, we have time for just one last question, and I will combine maybe 2 questions into one. All right, and the panelists can answer. What about the job roles, right? So it's quite competitive, and also a lot of demand in the IT sector. So how do I choose those job roles? Having the same skill set, and there are few job roles around, which is the top one, right? And if I'm working right now in the IT industry and I job hop, does it look good on the company that I'm applying for? So so I managed to squeeze 2 questions in one. Okay, Benny, would you want to answer this?
I think my advice is, when looking for a job, join the company that will really give you the growth, right? So don't choose the job title, don't choose the salary package, right? Go for the company, right? Proven companies who can actually help you accelerate and grow your pathway, right? Because I think that is far more important than the title, the package. Again, sharing from my experience, the reason why I'm still in my first job is because every day I feel that I'm still learning, right? Everything's a challenge to me, right? When pandemic breaks out, I have to worry about how to buy hand sanitizers, masks, and all those things for my project team, right? Because we run project almost like a SME, kind of setup, right? So I think every day there will be new things to learn, and that is my own career journey, right? So I think that's quite important, for you to know.
Thank you, Benny. How about Stanley? Anything to add on this?
Job hop definitely is a no-no, right? So if you keep job hopping for the sake of hopping, employee will scared, right? So when they see your CV, or this person's have been working for 5 companies already in the span of 6 months or to 1 year. So they could imagine that they will expect theirs will be the next stepping stone for the person. So so a bit less likely you get selected if you are, you know, a resume shows a lot of very short periods of job hopping and you know. But if you are in a job that you really don't to your liking, and it's not something that you know that you want to do, then I would advise so, because if you continue, then probably you also can't perform because it's not something that to your liking. But before you do that, you probably could talk to your employer first, right? So that, okay, is there something else for me? Because this one seems like, you know, not really to my passions and this and that. Of course, during the interview, I really encourage you ask a lot of questions to find out more about the job, to understand more. So there's an interview session is all about, right? So so that both parties can come out the agreement, saying understand each other better. So this will contribute to less job hopping. But nonetheless, job hopping by default is a no. So it's not encouraging. Right? Yeah.
And how about Darren? Darren, is this your first job in DSCA?
Yeah, it's still my first job. I think it'll still be the same job for the next year or two. I think what Stanley mentioned about the interview part is important also. The interview is not only for the company to know you, it's for you to get to know the company as well. So take the time during that interview, right, to really ask questions that you really cannot find online. Things about your culture, you know, some maybe more details about the project. As far as choosing the roles that, you know, choosing the right roles, right? I would recommend people to choose the roles that they want to do and they can see themselves doing, rather than what the market is looking out for, right? I mean, money is important, but don't do something that you really hate doing and loathe going to work for it. Avoid that. And then as far as job hopping is concerned, I do see the rationale, right? I mean, you know, you want to get as much exposure as possible. You want to try, you know, it's a buffet, right? You just want to try as much dishes as you can. But really, it does look bad on you, in the sense that, you know, people might label you as a flight risk and stuff like that. But again, you know, if the job is not good, right? If the job sucks, if it's a toxic work environment, if it's a destructive work environment, then please get out. But do take some time to really settle in, you know, get to know the company, get to know the role, get to know the culture. Do give it a shot, rather than, you know, at the first sign of something you don't like, and then you just flee. Right.
Yeah, totally agree. Right, ladies and gentlemen, due to the time constraint, we are not able to answer all your questions. So do direct them by emailing to span@sp.edu.sg. All right. Okay. Now I would just like my panelists to some ending advice, to end the session with some advice to our young talents joining the IT industry. Let's see, Elaine, any advice to the young talents?
Okay, actually, I just want to take this opportunity to share that on the DSA scholarship portion, like what Barry shared earlier, that we do have technical and management path for both digital and engineering domain. Our staff have the chance to not only work within the defense agency, but also across the rest of the public service and also industry partner in the private sectors. So on the scholarship, we provide a range of scholarship from the pre-service scholarship, like DSA scholarship, which you can use your diploma. After joining the DSA, we also provide staff with in-service scholarship and sponsorships. So anything can actually just contact me or visit our website for more info.
Thank you so much, Elaine. From Hotline, Sandy, ending advice to our young talents.
Yeah, my advice would be, yes, take the interviews opportunities to ask more questions, to find out the job, to find out the company, to find out the cultures or whatever that it may bother you or you have concern, right? Don't simply take up any jobs and go inside then find out that, oh my God, it's something not that I want to. Then you start to look for a job again, right? So, you know, the whole interviewing cycle, all this, you know, is painful, right? So, and you start to feel stressful every time you go to interview. So, but once you are selected in the interview, please take the opportunities, right, to find out more, do study of the company, then prepare all your questions, go inside, be prepared, right? Then this also to demonstrate, how prepared are you when come to so indirectly when going to the job, employer would know that, okay, this candidate, yeah, he is actually well prepared. So I believe when he goes into the work, actual task been assigned, so he also would be along that line, that sort of character and capability. So and then I believe not every job that you would like eventually, but please talk to your employer, talk to your supervisors, right? So communication is very important also. Don't keep quiet and assume, then you think that, yeah, they are not providing something that you want, then you start secretly look for a job again, and then, you know, by the time you tender, it's too late, then who knows, you know, the employer is actually prepared something for you. So then you have to start fresh again from elsewhere, right? So communication is important. Please talk to comms to your supervisors frequently. If you got concern, please voice it up. You know, the company definitely is there to help you, right? So communicate is very important. So yeah, so that would be my advice when you get into your job. Show your passions of the job, be hardworking, then dollar and cent eventually will comes by, right? When you are good, right, company definitely would voluntarily pay you more. They know that you are very highly sought after by other people, so they will try to retain you, right? So yeah, that will comes eventually, so don't look at the dollar and cent at the first place when you are looking for your first job, right? That's my advice. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you, Stanley. That was a very good, solid advice. And Darren, how about you? Any advice to our young talents?
Yeah, I would think that you know, when you're starting our SP, actually when I was at SP also, I was very keen to start in the industry, but you know, when you take a step back, you know, you look at certain market behavior, you know, what the industry looks at, right? A degree, like it or not, is important, not just for IT, but you know, just for the other industries, right? You know, who knows, maybe you hate IT 2 years later and you want to hop, right? Having a degree would definitely put you in an advantageous position. So my advice is like to students is that, you know, or to the graduates rather, try to cover your net, cast a wide net as possible, right? Cast a wide net in terms of your networks, cast a wide net in terms of your skill sets. You know, try to be as big of a generalist as you can, right? To you know, spread your eggs across multiple baskets, I would say.
Thank you so much, Darren. And last but not least, Mr. Benny.
Yeah, I mean, not trying to scare everyone, but the industry is very fast-paced, very dynamic, right? So, you know, as a fresh, you know, joiner into the industry, it definitely is going to be tough in the first few months, right? My personal advice will be hang in there, right? Because, you know, it is, you know, when it's very tough, it's actually where you build resilience, where you learn a lot more, right? So I think that is, you know, point number one. Second thing is that, you know, once you go past that steep learning curve, right, and you know, continue to learn and grow in your role, you'll find that the opportunities in the industry is really a lot. And at some point in time, you'll reach the equilibrium where you'll find that it's very, you know, satisfying individually to contribute, you know, to the industry or to the companies they work for. And of course, you know, from a compensation, you know, perspective, it's definitely rewarding. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Benny. Now, my advice to the young talents is, from my perspective, is follow your dreams and build enough ammunition enough to overcome challenges along the way. And I'm also learning new technologies, and I discovered that it is fun, and I can definitely see my growth, when I learn. And keep in mind that learning doesn't stop when you start working. We will always be learning new things, and that's how we keep young, right? And SP definitely has a lot of course offerings after you graduate. So do check out the course offerings in our website. And as what Mr. PCO says, see you again back in SP. So thank you so much to my panelists and the audience as well for your time. I shall now pass the mic back to Derek. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. Jenny. And of course, once again, a very big thank you to all of our panelists, Mr. Benny, Mr. Stanley, Mr. Darren, Ms. Elaine, and of course, Ms. Valerie, who presented earlier on. I think it was a very, very fruitful discussion because the topics that you guys asked were actually questions that I asked myself back then in my poly days. Is a degree important, degree versus experience, which is important. And I think our panelists covered it very, very well. If I may, to myself, there is no right and there is no wrong in terms of getting a degree or not. There's no right, there's no wrong. But it really depends on what path you want to set for yourself, you see. If you think that getting a degree, then going out to gain experience and all is totally fine. Vice versa as well. That there's no right, there's no wrong. You just gotta know which path you're setting for yourself. And I think Darren mentioned, a degree is not necessary, but highly recommended. Reason why? Because it allows you to know more people, improve your networking as well, which I totally agree. Because like I mentioned earlier on, networking, these people whom will eventually, get to help each other in this long journey. And with regards to the job hopping question, I guess Benny, I believe Benny mentioned, choose a company that gives you learning opportunities, because to date, he's still learning every day. That's why he's still at the company. He feels that the company allows him to grow, allows him to learn, and it's very, very important. Because the moment where you think that, I've learned enough, it's time to stop learning. I'm up there already, then that is where you will start to go downhill. So keep an open mind, keep learning, and keep learning. All right. And I guess Darren mentioned as well with regards to the job hopping, during interview, as well as Stanley. I think Stanley mentioned as well. During interview, ask questions. Don't be an interviewer where you just sit down there and answer questions. Ask the interviewer questions, know more about the company culture and how things work over there. And by doing that, you get to know if this company suits, if you will suit into this company, if it's the same style that you guys work at. And at the same time, you'll show the interviewer that you're actually keen in working at the company rather than just, keeping quiet and answer their question. So I guess it has been a really, really fruitful discussion. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, I mentioned earlier on, we do have question number 3 of our quiz. So right now, let's go for question number 3. Let's take a look at the question. Similarly, scan the QR code again. Okay, question number 3, short one. Singapore is the digital capital of Asia. Is this statement true or is it false? Okay, short sentence. Singapore is the digital capital of Asia. True or false? Which do you think is the correct answer? Simply scan the QR code like I've mentioned. You answer the questions, get them right, and you will stand a chance to win our cash vouchers that's available for all of you if you get it right. Okay, so quickly answer the questions. A short 1 minute for you guys to complete this question, since it's just true or false. A very quick one. Yes, and that is the end of our quiz, okay, or question number 1, 2, and 3. I hope you guys have answered it correctly. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of today's webinar, this morning's webinar for information and digital technologies. However, later on at 1:30, okay, we do have another session, our session number 4 for media and design, as well as session number 5 at 4 p.m. for business management. So ladies and gentlemen, if you are keen, please do join us later on at 1:30 and at 4 p.m. respectively. We will have similarly, again, industry partners coming on to share with us our experiences for you guys to know what's going on in the industry. All right, and with that, once again, my name is Derek. Thank you so much for joining us on session number 3 of our Singapore Polytechnics Virtual Career Symposium 2022, where we bring journeying with you beyond SP. Bye-bye.